Hey, so I would like to introduce my viewers, my subscribers, to a documentary program I watched about 10 years ago now, but it's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, one of the most, for me, interesting and engaging documentaries. I just find it an interesting subject matter, and I'm pleased I came across it when I did. Um, like I say, it's quite old now. It was produced in about 2005, but the format of this program is quite different from other programs about the paranormal, and it's basically entitled Ghosts of the Underground. And basically, this program goes through some accounts, some experiences that workers in the London Underground and others, passengers as well, have experienced through the years. And I think it's a very interesting documentary because a lot of ghost documentaries nowadays I find they tend to be a little bit sensationalist, so they tend to rely on people going into a perceived room that is haunted, um, and kind of, you know, acting all creeped out and stuff. And to me, that really doesn't have the same impact as this documentary has because I'm not going to give too much away in terms of the individual stories and the individual accounts that they go through in this, but it's a very different approach, and it's for me an interesting approach because rather than sort of having paranormal investigators go through London Underground and act spooked out, I think Most Haunted does that. And I'm not going to be overly critical of Most Haunted because I haven't seen enough of it to really be so critical. So I'm not going to do that. But I do notice that there's a different style. With this, it's simply a voiceover, and the guy who's doing that voiceover, I don't know who he is, but it's perfect because it's serious without being too dramatic. I mean, it's not the way this program is formatted is quite neutral. It's not overly sensationalist. It's not overly like we're trying to scare you out. It's done in a very professional way, and I really like it. I don't know which network broadcasts this. I think it might have been Channel Four. Can't remember, but I'll definitely put a link to it in this video. Go just say a few more words about this. Without giving too much away, London has the world's oldest underground subterranean transit system. It was built in 1863, and it's had more than its fair share of tragedy. I've done research on this actually, and I think it's fair to say the London Underground has experienced possibly more disasters than any other transit system in the world. I haven't done exhaustive research, but that certainly would seem to be higher than average. There has been many major incidents on the tube network. There's been numerous derailments, train crashes. There has been fires. There's been terrorist attacks. There's been all sorts of things. To cite a few famous examples, there was, of course, the London bombings in 2005, the same year this program was made. 52 people killed. Some of them were above ground, but majority on the tube system. Hundreds more injured. There was the King's Cross fire of 1987. That was basically when an old wooden escalator caught fire when someone dropped a cigarette. Major disaster, 31 people killed. There's been numerous derailments over the years, such as the Moorgate disaster in 1975. I believe 40 people were killed in that disaster. Um, Going further back, there's been numerous incidents. For example, during World War II, during the Blitz, there was numerous reported incidents. I am going to give a slight disclaimer here because I am going to talk about one of the cases just as an introduction. This isn't giving too much away because there's many other sort of cases they touch on. The Bethnal Green tube station phenomenon, so to speak. During World War II, London Underground was used as a shelter for the air raids by the German Luftwaffe. And in one incident, there was a false alarm that a device had gotten into the Bethnal Green tube station. But this caused a stampede, a panic, and 173 people were crushed to death. Now, it said that in that tube station, people have had experience of feeling out of breath, and they have felt the distinct sound of women and children sort of crying or screeching. The majority of victims in this disaster were women and children. The way this documentary is done really is quite unconventional. I think it's very well done. And like I say, it's not overly sensationalist. They get tube workers interviewed. And I think these people come across as really, they don't look like people who've been paid just to say something. You know, one of them, for example, doesn't want to be identified. And just by the pitch of the voice and so on, I think there really is something in what these people say that they've experienced. And I think it's very interesting from that point of view. There's been all sorts of situations where there is tube stations close to something that's happened, various historic murders, all sorts of things. And I'm not going to give too much away because I don't want to ruin this program for people watching it. I'm just going to say one thing, and I don't think this gives too much away, but Bruno Hauptmann. Bruno Hauptmann. To my American viewers, Google Bruno Hauptmann and then watch this documentary, and I'll tell you something that's just downright weird. I cannot work that one out. And to this day, in that particular case, and I'm not going to go into the details, but it happened 30 years ago, and it makes absolutely no sense. It's never ever been, most strange sightings or whatever usually end up with some explanation. This one still being unexplained. So anyway, I'm going to put a link to this. Please check it out in my information section. In fact, I'll try and put it on the main video format itself. Um, it's about 45 minutes, so it's not overly long, but watch this and I guarantee you won't forget it. It is a very interesting documentary. It's unlike any that I've ever seen before, and yeah, I really recommend it. Incidentally, it also gave me a link to a very, in my opinion, very beautiful song, which is Svenni Jengler by Sigur Rós, which is a sort of Icelandic alternative indie type group. But it's a very, very beautiful, melodic, but also rather melancholic sound. And they use that at several points throughout this documentary. So I googled it to find out what that was. Svenni Jengler by Sigur Rós. Check it out. So yeah, Ghost of the Underground. I'll put a link in the video. Do check it out. Watch it first and then come back to me and let me know what you think. Personally, I think this does stand out from other documentaries about the paranormal.